Hey guys, good morning again. Just got off the radio, hopped in the car, and I have to stop by one of our sponsors and then head home and got some work to do at home. Still got a lot of work to do at home. I have a complete studio at my house. Hey guys, I have a complete studio at my house where I podcast from. All the production, the commercials, everything you hear on the radio, and on my podcast, I do at my home studio. So I got a lot of work to do in the studio today, and then a podcast later. But, oh man, I tell you, what I was talking about today with this town hall meeting. Hey guys, good morning. I'm heading off to one of our sponsors just to stop in and say hello, and then I gotta head home. But there's a big campaign going on with the left right now that you really have to be cautious about. They're trying to split MAGA. They're trying to split MAGA by pretending to be fake MAGA. I was talking about this on my podcast last night. You guys should definitely listen to my podcast from last night. It was a very good episode. We talked about a lot of things. One of the things we talked about was what's going on with Hannity. There was a big trend on Twitter yesterday with MAGA conservatives saying that Hannity's on thin ice and he's gone too far, and he's there's these Democrat operatives that pretend to be MAGA. They flood chat rooms on YouTube. They're on TikTok. They're on Twitter. They're on Getter. They're on Parler. They're on everything. They're in your Facebook groups, and you got to really be careful. And what they're trying to do is go around to people like Hannity and others that are strong MAGA people and say that they're fake, that they're not really MAGA, to try to turn us against one another. And now, Kevin McCarthy is not MAGA. I mean, he's a never-Trumper snake. But Hannity is. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Hannity's. He's boring and vanilla, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You guys know. But he's MAGA. He's a Trump guy. And, don't let anybody tell you he's not. But there was a big move on that yesterday. They've tried everything with Hannity. They tried to find women and all this stuff. They could find nothing. So this is their new tactic. Everything the left do is dishonest. They never face things honestly. It doesn't even occur to them to be truthful. It's not even on their radar screen to be truthful. Their immediate move is to be dishonest, because if they're honest about who they are and their agenda, they got no support. And you look at this town hall last night, it's a textbook example. I picked up on I had four clips. I had the Biden praising the Robert Byrd is the biggest one, right? But I had four clips from that town hall. None of them are clips that are being used by the mainstream media to talk about what happened last night. You're not going to hear me have a discussion about the damn filibuster. It's terminal. No one understands it. I don't even know if the senators understand it. And that's a distraction and boring. Biden had an epic fail in that town hall last night with Don Lemon. And Don Lemon, too. Don Lemon did not call him out on that Robert Byrd thing. That's a big failure on Don Lemon's part. He looks like a chump. But they get away with it for a lot of reasons, because they edit it and they only show the public the parts that they want to, have. They only have discussions on the parts they want to discuss. But also, Byrd died 11 years ago, so millennials don't even know who Robert Byrd is. They don't know who that is. Or Strom Thurmond, who we mentioned there too. And since they don't know who they are, they don't even have to try to explain anything away, so they get away with these things. So you really got to be informed. Getting older, one of the great benefits of getting older is you have more knowledge and life experience about what's going on. You have better perspective on what's going on to pick through this BS that they're always trying to shove down our throats. But if the Republican and Democrat establishment would have just rode Trump out, they'd be fine. But what they've done by this fake thing that Kevin McCarthy's doing, pretending to go up against Pelosi on the January 6th commission. If Kevin McCarthy would just be an honest man, things would go much smoother for him. But what they do is they make MAGA stronger. They make us more united because of the way that they handle it. You know, there was a guy on MSNBC a couple days ago. I had the clip, but I didn't play it on the air. Just didn't get to it. I can't remember who he was talking to. It might have been Joy Reid. I can't remember. But there was this guy on MSNBC a couple days ago, and he was talking about how do you identify an extremist in your circle, like someone you're talking to on Twitter or a Facebook group. He says if they use the word patriot, if they say patriot or patriots, they're probably an extremist to look out for. That's what the liberals are doing. It's pretty despicable when you think about it. Let's see here. I'm on I-95 right now. Getting ready to exit. I'm only heading down a couple miles on 95, just going down a couple exits. That's why I'm in the slow lane. Everyone's passing me because I didn't have that far to go. I mean, you know, this thing with Kevin McCarthy yesterday with this fake thing he was doing, no one has brought up him living with Frank Luntz since it happened, since Tucker did it. You know, that was absolutely amazing. When Tucker came out with that story, I was shocked. And not a lot shocks me from these creeps in Washington. Him living with Frank Luntz, it confirmed my suspicions. But I was really shocked that he would... And it really shows you the balls that these establishment never-Trumpers have. That he just figures... He's got the media. You know, as much as the media is biased against conservatives... It's not biased against the establishment conservatives, the establishment Republicans like Liz Cheney and Kevin McCarthy. If Jim Jordan, for example, was living with Frank Luntz, they'd run him out of Congress for it. But Kevin McCarthy, he's part of the establishment, he's playing ball against Trump, so that Frank Luntz story comes out by Tucker Carlson. It's embarrassing for a day or two, then they never reference it again. But Tucker Carlson and Hannity, Laura Ingraham too, but mostly Hannity and Tucker Carlson are under tremendous amounts of pressure from Fox News management, Republican establishment people. They're under so much pressure to drop Trump, drop MAGA. So, you know, you've always got to give them a little extra breathing room because they're under extreme pressure, and both of them, especially Tucker, because Tucker breaks news. He breaks news, and he breaks news very regularly that we've not heard anywhere. But you've got to give both Tucker and Hannity the benefit of the doubt always, because sometimes they may be forced into making a compromise on the air about this or that. So that they could continue to do what it is that they're doing. I wish it didn't have to be that way, but that's the real world, you know. Well, I'm in some heavy traffic here. The road a little bit. All right. Okay. The light's just turning red. I'll take a quick look at the chat while I'm at this red light. Let me get my glasses on. Three-quarters of Australia is in lockdown? Yeah. Yeah. No, they're not requiring it. Right now, the CDC is. Well, you know, a lot of times, okay, these callers, okay, liberal callers, a lot of times people say, oh, you waste time with liberals. If you listen to the way that Steve and I talk to liberal callers, we make our points about whatever issue that we're talking about that day through them, you know? And not a lot of people on the radio do that because they don't know how to do it. And another thing about it, and I've talked to you guys that have followed me for a while, have heard me say this. Every time I do a personal appearance, I'll have at least one person come up to me who's been a listener for many years, and they say, you know what, I used to be a Democrat, I used to be a liberal, and I listened to you for 5 years or 10 years, and now I'm a conservative. I get that all the time. So, talking to liberals, that there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Now, this thing with this caller at the end of the show, which was hilarious, about the guy that called Richie a moron while he was defending Richie. His problem, he doesn't like Richie, he hates me. You know what I mean? But a caller like this thing with Richie today, see, you can't let a call, I'll put most everybody on the air and give everybody a try. But this thing with Richie, what Richie wants to do every day when Richie calls in, is he wants to hijack the show into another direction. He does, he's got a lot of personal issues with me too. Plus, I told him off the other day. Remember, he called in and he told me I shouldn't go to Disney, and I was talking about how the people are finally getting back to work and they're in Florida, and I said it's easy for you to boycott when you're sitting on your fat ass, on your fat pension in your air-conditioned house. He felt stupid. So Richie's trying to get back at me. So he's trying to make himself feel better by making me feel stupid. So he's called in the last couple days, and I've blown him off because he calls in and he wants to hijack the show and take it in his direction. Before I went on the air today, I got up early today because I wanted to edit some of the audio sound bites from the Biden town hall. I was doing show prep for 3.5 hours before I went on the air today. So, I know what I'm going to talk about. I'm very prepared. Even though it seems like I'm laid back. I'm laid back, but I'm very well organized and prepared when it comes to being on the air. And so I spend 3.5 hours preparing for what I'm going to... I spend as long preparing as I'm on the air. Think about that. And that's pretty much every day. And I'm going to take a call 10 minutes into the show from anybody, and let them just take over and host the show into another direction. You can't do that. You got to have control. Having open phones and dealing with callers doesn't mean you're relinquishing the control of the show over to people. That's crazy. If that's what you do, I just have to say hello and goodbye. And I want to tell you guys, listen, if you want to support me and my content and the Steve Kane Show, go to mypillow.com and buy something using the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. And, right now, Mike Lindell has so many things on sale at the lowest price ever. These sales are just going to disappear one by one like dominoes. And they're going to disappear without notice when they start doing it. So if you want to support me, my podcast, the Steve Kane Show, my YouTube channel, a great way to do that, go to mypillow.com, use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, and buy something. And my wife and I, we've already done some Christmas shopping. We bought some pillows. We bought a couple of the robes because they got 40% off on the robes. The pillows are $29.98 with the promo code KANE. So we've done some. Everybody loves my pillow products as a gift, and the cool thing about it is they keep them forever, right? So it's like a gift that people will love, and they'll use it for years and remember it. So promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com, and it's a great way to support me and this channel, the radio show, my podcast. But you got to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. So yeah, so that you just can't turn the show over to I'm headed into a school zone now. to a caller and say, okay, here's the reins, take it. Not gonna do it. I'm too late. I'm too nice to some of the callers. That Steve tells me that sometimes. He's like, you're too nice to some of these callers. And Richie is one, that I'm definitely too nice to most of the time. I'm in a school zone and bumper-to-bumper traffic. I'm heading over to Friendly Tire, our sponsor, Friendly Tire. I'll leave the stream on when I go. I gotta go talk to him just for a minute about something, and then I'll leave the stream going in the car. So you guys be good. I won't be here to monitor the chat. I can't take you guys with me because I gotta do a little bit of business when I'm in there. So I can't take you guys in a live stream into a business meeting. But it's really short. It won't be long. Oh man. After the show, I get so tired. The show takes so much energy. I've heard Howard Stern talk about this too, because when you're on the air, it's a lot of adrenaline, boom, So after the show, I'm like a little tired, and then I spruce up a little later. But it takes a lot of energy to do a 3-hour radio show. People don't realize how much energy it takes. There. Let's see. Oh, yes. There's Mike. Talking to a customer. I'm pulling up to Friendly Tire in Margate, one of our sponsors. All right, I'm going to leave the stream going while I go inside. Like I said, I got to talk business for just a minute. And I can't take you guys into a business meeting. So can you all behave yourself? I'll be back like in a few minutes. Okay? Behave yourself. Because I'll go look at the chat later. So if anybody gets crazy, I'll be back. And if anybody steals I'll keep the car running. I'll keep the air conditioning. I'm just right here, so I'm going to keep the car running and the air conditioning on. All right, I'll be right back. All right, let me scroll through. Did everybody behave? Did anybody not behave? It's like 90 probably right now. Well, I wasn't too far away. I mean, I was right here, you know. I wasn't that far away, guys. Yeah. No, I leave the air on because when I get in the car, I want it to be cool. You know what I mean? It's so hot. Like my wife, because of all the medications and everything she's on. She's on vasodilators, which open up her blood vessels. So she's always hot. So if I ever go anywhere with Kathy, I always go out to the car and put the air on full blast, open up the windows and everything, get all the hot. I can't get out. This guy's too close. Yeah. This guy just pulled behind me. He was panicked. I got a rear view camera. He thought I was going to hit him. Just get out, guy. Come on. This guy just pulled behind me. He thought I was going to hit him. He had a panic attack. I got a rear view camera. I got the motion sensor. It didn't go off. Are you kidding me? Now I got to sit here with this guy. What a jerk. What a jerk. There's all these parking spots available. I got a text message. Oh, it's Kathy. Okay. He was trying to call me. Didn't answer the phone because I have the I have my phone on Do Not Disturb when I'm streaming. I can't believe this guy didn't move his freaking car. Cannot believe it. Yeah, the only reason I'm not making him move is he's a customer of Mike's, so I'm not going to give him a hard time. I can get out. I can get out. Okay. It's no use having the sensors if you don't use them. This guy, he's in a total panic. Watch him come out and panic again. Well, he should have moved his car. Hey, there goes the sensor. You still got space to go when the sensor goes off. Can't wait here all day for you. Oh, he's freaking out. He might come up to the car. He's really upset. He's the one blocking traffic. What a jerk. If he was not a customer of Mike's, I would have had him move. Kathy's in here now? Yep. Hey, Kathy. I'm on my way home. Sorry, guys. I'm in some traffic now. Gotta watch the road a little bit. Pizza that tossed me out is over here. The place I meet Steve, the parking lot Steve and I meet in to do business, is in this neighborhood. So usually we have to meet like every couple of weeks to do that. So we got our undisclosed parking lot meetup spot. Yeah. Well, like I said, if Steve's house is about an hour drive from the radio station, so so we meet kind of in a midpoint. So when Steve has to take a drive and go somewhere. Yeah, Steve drives. When Steve has to take a drive and go somewhere that's kind of in this direction, we'll meet. If we've got to, exchange paperwork or sometimes checks, things like that. Because why should we drive an hour each way just to do it, No, we don't change locations. We usually meet in the same place. Sometimes you got to meet in person to do things, paperwork. It's not stealth, it's just convenient. I guess we're lazy. It takes an hour each way to get from Steve's house to the radio station. There were some really good calls on the show today. Oh my gosh. Very good calls today. My favorite call, though, was that guy that said he's a progressive Republican. That was my favorite. The radio station is kind of close to my house. It doesn't take me long to get to the radio station. Our old studio was about the same distance from my house as the radio station. There's no such thing as a progressive Republican. You can't. So I told him. I said, being a progressive Republican, there's no such thing. They cancel each other out. You cannot be both. It's like, what I told the caller, I said, that's like saying you're a gay heterosexual. How can you be a gay heterosexual, right? It's the same thing. How can you be a progressive Republican? You're a liberal, or you're not. I mean, it's the stupidest thing. I mean, that guy. Now, that's the kind of caller that I was talking about earlier, before I got out of the car, that works for the Democrats. That's like a paid person by the Democrats, and their job is to spread misinformation. And did you hear what he said? I've been monitoring you. I've been watching you for a while online, and so they monitor everything you do and say on the radio, online, and then they meet, they conspire, they come up with a way to, So then he calls in, and they're gonna have to get a more highly skilled operative to go up against me than that guy. As soon as he said, well, I could tell by his voice what he was all about. I've been doing this for so long that the way a caller, when I say hello, the first syllable out of their mouth, I can tell you everything about them. Pretty much, most of the time. Even if they're lying. But when he said he was a progressive Republican, how many people did it take to come up with that crap in the think tank at the DNC? Give me a break. Oh, a progressive Republican, oh. And then he says, do you have any questions for me? No, what? Yeah, people just randomly call me and then I interview them. That's a millennial. That guy was a millennial. Millennials are all into, we're supposed to go to them for their wisdom, It is a huge swamp. You hate Greg. Oh, yeah, Kathy does not like Greg, too. I don't like Greg, too, either, to tell you the truth. He's a jerk. No getting around that. Oh, yeah. They probably share office space, the RNC and the DNC. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, we will, Eric. Everything's in cycles. Just be patient. Everything's in cycles. Biden and Kamala are such screw-ups. They're such screw-ups, and they hate each other. That's a big problem, too. So the two top people in the Democrat Party hate each other. Pelosi hates Kamala. Kamala hates her. Jill, which means Joe, hates Kamala. Kamala hates Joe and Jill. I mean, they're very dysfunctional. They have no unity. On top of the fact that they're incompetent. So they're incompetent. They have no unity. They hate each other, all of them. They're a disaster. And they're working with the Republicans, who they don't like too much either. They can tell them, the enemy of my enemy is my friend crap. That's all good when you're talking in theory. It's a loose collection of Trump haters that hate each other, hate themselves, and they're, don't worry. Everything will work out fine in the end. Just got to be patient. It's tough. It's tough. I'd much rather Trump be in the White House right now, but he'll be back. 2024. The only question with Trump is who's going to be his vice president in 2024. We know it's not going to be Pence. Is it going to be Noem, DeSantis, Greg Abbott? Who knows? That progressive Republican thing, that's like this crap they're selling with Democratic Socialist. Democratic Socialist doesn't exist either. There's no democracy in a socialist society. That's why AOC yesterday was concerned that the Republicans might cause regime change in Cuba. Isn't U.S. policy regime change? That's the purpose of the embargo, to have a free and fair election. And is it really regime change if the people overturn the government down there? Bizarre. And I saw AOC when she was being interviewed about that. She's walking down the sidewalk being interviewed by this guy. She had a whole entourage around her with sunglasses. She was wearing sunglasses like she was, all that. She looks like a kid. I wonder how tall she is. Because she had to be wearing heels. And she talks like a child, too. They don't run as progressive big government people. They make deals to get rich. They run as conservatives and they get elected, and then it's like a crime syndicate. Then they open up the books to them. It's like they're a made man now in the mafia. They open up the books. It's not about being progressive. They're just corrupt public officials. It's not about being conservative or progressive. When you get to that Kevin McCarthy level, that's the way it is. Well, we have to wait, so. Country's been through worse. I mean, look, during the Democrat insurrection, the Civil War, we should start calling the Civil War the Democrat Party insurrection. The Democrat insurrection. There were 2 elections during the Civil War, right? Well, the one was right before, but they were already leaving the Union. The Democrats didn't even have, in the 1860 election, they did not even have Lincoln on the ballot in the southern states, and he still won. Isn't that crazy? Because of the Electoral College. And when he ran for re-election, the fighting was still going on. We got through that. We'll get through this crap. And they were the Democrats. My goodness, during the Civil War, they ran a Democrat against Lincoln. McClellan ran against Lincoln, his original general, and Lincoln wasn't even sure he was going to win. He spent all night on election night at the telegraph office looking at the returns. Could you imagine if the Democrat would have beat Lincoln in the 1864 election? What would have happened? Could you imagine? Wow. I wish I had the camera forward. The car in front of me, he must be texting. He just drove up on the swale and almost hit 3 cars. He regained control now. That guy's texting. There's no doubt about it. He's still swerving. Wow. I'm going to hang back. Hang way back from this loser. Wow. I mean, think about it. The Democrats have an insurrection going on, and they run a candidate against Lincoln. If we got through that... no, he's texting. He's texting now. He's got his phone in his hand. He didn't even stop. I don't look at the chat unless I'm at a red light like now. He's changing lanes. I don't want to get next to this loser. Let him get up ahead of me. I almost took out like 3 cars. There's a Peloton truck in front of me. Are Pelotons really worth it? What's the big... Why are people so excited about Peloton? I don't get it. It's just a stationary bicycle, right? With a video screen on it. Can't you just get a regular treadmill or bike and put your iPad or something on it and watch the videos? I don't understand why Peloton is like such a big deal. Black Spring, hello to you. Black Spring with Autumn. Yeah, that other clip I had of the guy from the town hall where Biden was flirting with the guy's wife. Been married a week, and Biden's coming on to the wife. I mean, what a sleaze. What a sleaze. That's Biden. The only reason he didn't smell his hair is because she was in the audience and he was on stage. I wonder if he met with them after. And smelled her hair then. Driving very erratically today. Oh man, this... Okay, fine. Okay, the guy's gone. The lunatic's gone. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to take off. If you're not subscribed, and everybody, before you go, like the video. If you don't mind, like the video. I'd appreciate that, okay? All right, guys, I'll see you later. Take care.